Good day, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing day. So today I'll be talking about Einstein Basic. So this is the first episode in relation to Einstein certification series, right? So the first thing first, I hope you all have registered for a free org. As you can see, I've registered for my free org. So I've talked about it, how to register for a free org in my previous episode. If you haven't watched it, I would highly encourage you to check that out, right? So why do we need Einstein, right? Einstein Analytics, why do we need it at first place, right? Think about a scenario, right? Let's say your company uses Salesforce, right? And also your company uses, say, data warehouse systems like Teradata or Oracle or whatever, right? And you also have some data stored in, let's say, Amazon Web Service or Amazon Cloud and Azure Cloud, right? Now, your sales manager would like to see a detailed insight into, or in other words, they would like to see a detailed information about the sales record, right? They wanted to see how the business is going, and they wanted to make a forecast. They would like to make an informed decision based on the data, right? So that's where the Einstein comes into picture, right? So it doesn't matter you have data in Salesforce, doesn't matter you have data in different warehouse systems or anywhere, right? So Einstein will combine all this data at one place and give you a visual representation of data, right? So in simple terms, if you wanted to see how your company is doing, how your sales going to look like, let's say, in next year, so you need to have a close look at your data, because data is a king, right, in today's time, right? Data is very essential. You will get to make informed decisions using data. So that's where Einstein Analytics comes in the picture. It's very handy. You can do everything at one platform. You don't have to, go and buy a separate application or separate, separate systems or separate machine, right? So you can do all of the stuff using Salesforce. If you're a Salesforce user, if your company has invested heavily on Salesforce, right, then Einstein will give you that edge, right? It will give you that edge in terms of data insight, right? So that's why Einstein is very powerful, right? You don't need to know a fancy machine learning terms, right? You don't need to know different algorithms out there. You don't need to know the nitty-gritty stuff of AI, right? So everything you can do using Einstein, it will give you different sort of predictions and a kind of stuff, right? So that being said, right, that's a very brief introduction, right? Why do you need an Einstein, right? Like, I'm not a salesperson, so I'm not trying to sell you Einstein, but I'm just telling you the advantage of having Einstein, right? If you're a Salesforce user, right? Because who won't love the data, right? If you're someone who says, I don't care about the data, then that's the biggest mistake you're doing, right? Because historic data, all of the data, like sales data, regular transactional data, will give you a clear representation of how your business is doing. And if you're a CEO or if you're a sales manager, you will be interested in that information, right? So that's where Einstein is very powerful. Cool, right? As I said, I've registered for my org. I've logged into my org. This is how it looks like when I logged into your org. Nothing different, right? It's similar to a regular, Salesforce org, right? So go to this tic-tac-toe icon, right? And go to Analytics Studio, right? It will take you to a new screen. So we're going to talk about assets here. So analytics assets, right? They are comprises of, you can call it as apps, right? Dashboard, story, dataset, right? So apps, think about app as a collection of, the dashboard, dataset, and apps are of two types. One is the your private apps. Private apps means only you can see it, right? So for instance, if you're working on very sensitive information, or if you're working on something, right, and you don't want others to see it, so in that case, the private apps will come in picture. But if you wanted another team or another consultant to view your app, right, then you will use the share app mechanism, right? Okay, So that's about the apps, right? Then we have dashboard, right? Dashboard is like a canvas where you can drag and drop, chart components, table components, labels, kind of stuff, right? I'll demonstrate what I meant by that, right? And we have data set. Data set is like a collection of data, right? It could be from a single source, it could be from multiple sources. What I meant by that is like, let's say you wanted to get an account information, right? So the way to get an account information in your data set is by selecting an account object and selecting fields, right? So that will give you information about accounts. If you wanted to have account and contact, you can do that as well in a single data set, right? So I'm going to give you a very basic rundown today about this stuff, right? So that you can get an idea about what we're dealing with, because the course will get more complicated as we go further, right? Another thing I wanted to mention that I think I might have mentioned in my previous episode, right? Please do hands-on, right? Please just do not just watch it and assume that, okay, you understood the stuff, right? That's okay. I mean, watching is great, but you need to do hands-on, right? Because you need to understand what exactly you're trying to achieve, right? Create a business scenario, something which is relevant to your firm, or, even if you don't work for a Salesforce company, or if you're someone who's starting up new, create any scenario, right? I mean, what you can think about. If you're a beer lover, create a beer, a scenario about a brewery, whatever, right? Cool. Or if you're a coffee lover, create a scenario about different kinds of coffees and, whatnot. So, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So first thing first, what we're going to do, we're going to create an app, right? So the way to create an app, right? So there's a create button here, right? So go here and click on app, right? So you have different templates here, right? And so this is the default one. So, which is default to it. I mean, if you want a custom template provided to you by Salesforce, you can use any of these ones, right? But today we are not going to use any of this. We're going to use the blank app template, right? So to do that, you can create, click on create blank, right? And then continue. Give any name, let's say a new demo app, right? And click on create. So if you remember, I talked about apps, right? It's collection of dashboards, stories, lenses, data set, right? So don't worry about the lenses, don't worry about the stories for now, right? Focus on dashboard and data set, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to create a data set first, right? So I'm going to create a simple a data set from an opportunity object, right? Very commonly used object, right? So I'm going to create a single data set, right? A data set, single object data set, right? I mean, we're not going to do any fancy stuff, right? To not to confuse you, right? So data set actually will give us the data, what we want, right? So that data we're going to use in our chart, right? Which will be used in the dashboard. If it sounds confusing, don't worry. I will show you what exactly I'm talking about, okay? So go to data set here, right? Click here, right? And then click on create, right? So click on data set, right? Okay, so you have different options here. You can upload it directly from CSV, right? You can connect to an external data, right? That is when you wanted to get information, let's say from Amazon or from Azure or from NetSuite or from whatever, right? So what we're going to do right now, we're going to focus on Salesforce data because we are actually dealing with an opportunity object, which is a Salesforce object, right? So click on Salesforce data, okay? So create a give a meaningful name, say opportunity DS, right? Data set, right? You can add to an existing data flow, but I'm going to create a new one. So I'm going to click here. So we're going to say flow, right? Simple. Okay. Give whatever name you want. It's a meaningful name. Okay. Right. So we'll take you to the. Okay. Now we have some job to do here. Right. Nice looking interface. So here you're going to select an object. So just type oper. It's kind of slow, so my apologies for that. My org is a bit slower today. Okay, we can't. Okay, you know what? Let's do old-fashioned. let's scroll down and look for this guy, opportunity, right? Select this one, okay? And see, now when I clicked on plus, right, it gives me an option to select the fields, right? So I'm gonna choose amount, right? So if you see a green tick, that means you've selected this option. Close date, okay? So description, and I mean you can pick and choose whatever field you want based on the business requirement. For now, just to keep it simple, we won't choose too many fields. So we're gonna pick up the lead source, right? Because we might filter by lead source, right? Okay. And opportunity type, and we're gonna choose opportunity ID, and we're gonna choose opportunity source, right? That's all we need, okay? And next, right? And so select an app for your dataset. So if you remember, we have already created somewhere my first demo app, right? And created dataset here. Okay. So you can go to update data flow, and so what I did, now it goes to queue. So now you see that it's a nice looking canvas here where it's actually created a data flow for us, right? You can actually do manually if you wanted to do manually. I'm not going to talk about it right now, right? That's a little bit advanced. So when we reach to that, we talk about it. So just click on run data flow, right? That's all you need to do. Go to data monitor, right? So, okay, so it failed, which is fine, right? Because I tried to run it twice, right? Remember, when we created the data set, it says, okay, your job is in queue, right? And then I try to update it. The reason why I intentionally do it, just to give you an idea what happens if you try to do it twice. Okay, so go here and see, it's successful now, right? So you have, and so if you go here, expand it, right? See, you have the status completed, right? And so all of this stuff, right? Remember that canvas we have where we have a simple flowchart. So it ran, so that's great. Okay. Now go to your refresh this one. Okay. Go to dashboard, right? And go to create dashboard. Okay. And so dashboard is a place where we normally add chart components and table components and other fancy looking stuff there, right? So you could pretty much use an existing template which has been offered to you by Salesforce, or you can start with a blank dashboard. So right now we're not going to talk about dashboard from a template. We're going to talk about blank dashboard, because this is a basic introduction to Einstein today. I just don't want you guys to get overwhelmed, right? Just think about it, right? So we have app, right? So we created a data set, right? And then we created a dashboard, right? So create a dashboard here, right? Okay. Now we have all this component. Take a minute to look at the screen, right? So we have this canvas, right? So this is a canvas, and you have a property of the canvas here. And so we have a property here, right? All the canvas settings. So it's the background grid color. So let's say you wanted to change it, you can change the background color, right? So I don't want to change it, so I keep it as such, okay? And if you wanted to go back to the property, you can click on the default here, it will take you here, right? Right, like you see, it's disappeared, so you can click back here, right? And then you can work around, the other stuff behind the scene, right? Okay, sounds good, right? Okay, now you have chart component, you have table component, you have filters, right? You have containers, you have date, you have links. So link is if you wanted to go from one dashboard to another dashboard, you can do that. We're going to talk all about that later, right? Not today. You have image component, you have list, you have number component, right? So you can drag and drop any of this stuff here, right? So for now, we're gonna drag this and draw the table component, very basic. So click on here. So remember the opportunity data set, what we created, right? Opportunity DS, if you remember. Okay. So this is what you get. Nice looking screen, right? So pay attention to the left hand side, right? So click here. So you wanted to, I will keep it as in sum of amount here. And I'm going to add other fields. So let's say I wanted to have lead source. And I wanted to have, so I wanted to have a group by lead source. And I wanted to have by opportunity source, right? So this is something I wanted to have, right? And then you can add filters if you want. So if you wanted to add filters, you can add it, right? Say, you can say the lead source, right? If the lead source equals to, let's say you wanted to restrict, it's similar to your Salesforce report, right? If you have worked with the report side of Salesforce, you see you have filters, right? So it's similar kind of stuff. The only thing is that we are filtering out, things, the data, what we get from a data set. So you have a data in your data set, right? So think about a data set as like a collection, right? Or a table, right? A virtual table or a temporary table where you have all the data, right? And then you can filter out using that. So if you're someone from a programming background, so you know about data set, right? So it's pretty much the same concept. So, okay, let's say I wanted to see advertisement. So it filters the data for you, right? So let's say I wanted to add more, let's say partner, say public relationship, right? You can do that, okay? And so I can do done here, right? And let's say, and also I wanted to view this in a form of a chart, right? So what we can do, so you can do chart here, okay? You can add drag and drop chart, so you can add, and so it's the same data set, right? It's by default to the opportunity. Okay, so I want to do the same in the form of chart. Let's say I want opportunity source, and I wanted to have the lead source, right? I'm gonna have a filter, so we're gonna have the lead source. You're gonna have partner. Let's say we wanted to have, similar stuff. Okay, right? And so you can make it bigger, right? And if you wanted to change the chart type, you can change it as well. Let's say if you're not happy with the chart type, right, you can make it as a column one, right? Or if you wanted to have a stacked bar, right, or stack columns, or if you want to, dot plot or horizontal dot plot, so let's keep it to the column one, right? Just to keep it. Okay, now I'm gonna save it. Okay, and just say demo dashboard. Okay, and so app. So you're gonna have to first. I think this is the app. Let's see if this. Okay, I think new demo app, right? Is that the name? Yeah, okay. So save it, right? And then saved, and then, so you can actually close all of this stuff here, okay? And you can see we have a demo dashboard here, right? Nice and easy, okay? So now close this one, okay? And then refresh the screen, right? And then you have new demo app here, right? The thing is that you can actually share it if you wanted to share it, right? And I'm not going to share it right now, so I'm going to put it to favorites, so it comes here, right? And to run it, just double click on it. Sorry, not this one. So right here, you can run the app. So when you run the app, right? See, it runs it for you. Very nice and easy, right? So it gives you all the insights, the data insights about the opportunities. My apologies, it's not a fancy looking chart or a table, it may not give you the exact information what you're after, but that being said, you can expand it based on whatever you want, right? So just to give you a glimpse of what we can do using a chart component, as well as table component on the dashboard. So this is something you can do, right? So this is something usually it's very useful for your salespeople, usually for a marketing team, or maybe your dev boss, to see the performance of your employees. You can see that as well. So like a KPI metrics, you can do lots of stuff using Einstein, right? So this is just a simple, very, very basic demonstration. Okay, so, and you can actually, a lot of options here. You can edit it, you can save, you can present. So you click on that, it will go to the presentation mode. Okay, so, and then you can share, you can show notification, right? And show annotation kind of stuff, right? Okay, so that's pretty much I wanted to talk about today, right? So we covered about basic stuff, right? How to create an app, how to create a data set, using GUI, right? Graphical user interface, right? Very simple way to do it. And then we created a dashboard, right? And then we use the same data set what we created using a dashboard, right? And then we ran an app, right? And we moved the app to the favorites, right? Pretty simple, right? Nothing fancy. Right, so this is an introduction to Einstein. I hope you liked it. I hope you got some value out of today's session. I request you to please try it out by yourself. It's very good. Platform, it's very simple to use it, and it's very flexible. And as you can see, you can, do data insight without knowing any machine learning algorithms, right? You don't need to know deep learning. You don't need to know. By all means, if you wanted to know machine learning, you can go for it. I mean, there are a lot of. I talked about in another Einstein series where I talked about a bit about machine learning, different algorithms, and So if you're someone who wanted to get into machine learning, right? This is just an off topic, just to have a minute chat. So if you're someone who interested to know, get into machine learning, you need to know a bit of maths, right? Algebra, very important. You need to know how to do differentiation, right? It's very important. And then, yeah, I think a high school mathematics will be good, pretty good to start with. And yeah, and there are a lot of books out there. You can, a lot of machine learning course. It's up to you if you wanted to know. But for Einstein, right? You don't have to know it, but if you're interested, you're welcome to learn it. Cool. That being said, greetings and adios from New Zealand. Take care. Bye-bye.